Inside 6 Yards is proudly supported by 1951 Goalkeeper Coaching.
For more information, you can visit their website at 1951goalkeepercoaching.com.au.
Or you can find them on Facebook
Or Instagram.
at 1951 Goalkeeper Coaching.
Links are in the description below.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Inside 6 Yards. I'm your host, Yatesy, and with me, as always, my trusty co-host,
Mr. Tommygun.
Yes, Tommy. Tommy, look, we've got a special young individual with us today, mate.
We do, and he's in the top left-hand corner.
He is, there he is.
Look at that, up there.
Oh, they're hiding up there. This is like almost a thing of Brady Bunch. Other side. Down there now.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Mr. Rob Flynn. Rob Flynn currently plays for Swan Rezzies down in State Div 1. And last year, me and
You and Rob know each other very well.
we dibble-dabbled in the curtain for the Swan. For the Swan. We had a couple of Swans down playing for us. But yeah, we played down the State League Div 2 for Curtin for the Rezzies. And I was the first there. And old Robbie got a few appearances there and a clean sheet too when we played for the first team.
I love those.
No, we all do love clean sheets.
Who doesn't love a clean sheet?
Oh, that's it. So, Rob, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, gents.
I like
Thanks for having me on.
We love the setup, though.
Yeah,
Mate. We're going to have to mention the setup. So if you're not actually watching the podcast, head over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Inside 6 Yards. Have a look at the nice, beautiful set. It's almost better than our setup, not going to lie. I'm pretty jealous. So talk us through the setup that you've got there, mate. So that's...
Well, I was... this is the same room I do a couple of Zoom calls for work in, and I've normally got the stereotypical bookshelf in the background. I thought, football podcast, I better come up with something, and there just happened to be on this wall behind me.
Yeah.
2 screws hanging out the wall that have been there since I moved in, and nothing hanging on them.
There you go.
And I went, hang on, I've got some banners somewhere.
Yeah.
And I went into the storeroom. First box I opened, there they were, untouched, still wrapped up. Haven't looked at them since I moved house probably 3 houses ago.
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Bang them up and happy days. So it all worked out pretty well.
Loves it.
Oh, it looks killer. It looks really, really good. Obviously, you're all set for the Euros.
I am. Not off to the best start last night, the old German national team. But as I was saying to you guys before, they did score the only goal of the game, which is unfortunately in the wrong net.
Yeah.
So
Baby steps. It'll come.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wrong net.
Baptism of fire, your opening game of the Euros being against France, I think hot favourites to take it out, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like chucking you to the deep end a little bit, isn't it? Like just like, hey, here you go, here's France.
Well,
It's a tough ask.
easy greens from here. I think they should be fine for the next couple of games.
Yeah. Do you know who you've got next?
I actually haven't got a clue. I'm just taking it day at a time. I'm just loving that there's international football on every day for the next few weeks. Like there are multiple games. I can't keep up with them. Sleep is, just a commodity at the moment. It's just how much football is there to watch. It's fantastic. So
Well, because you're Group F, that's pretty hard. You got Hungary, France, and Portugal.
That's a nasty group. That's a nasty group.
I feel bad for Hungary, put it that way.
Yeah. You've got Portugal next. So,
okay.
So
that'll be interesting. Hopefully someone leaves a couple of studs in some of their players in there.
Yeah. Or maybe Granada might be taken out by the big company Coke, so he might disappear somewhere. Who knows?
and Coke assassinates CR7.
There you go. How's that for your water?
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, and here I am with this. He wouldn't approve of me either. I don't think.
Pogba, neither with Pogba, because he did a stunt too. Not long. I think they had Heineken 0% beer, and he moved it out of screen as well.
What?
So there you go.
Yeah,
that's actually not bad tasting beer as well. Like the Heineken's one of the best 0% ones. It's an option for some people. Not for most people, but.
I must say I've never had a 0% beer.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think my dad would disown me if I had a 0% alcohol.
You are no child of mine.
So speaking of beers, Robbie, the time I've known you've always been a bit of a beer connoisseur. You pretty much I'm not going to say every day because it makes you sound like an alcoholic, but you know, every so weekend you've got a new picture up of on Instagram or Facebook of the beer. What are you drinking at the moment, mate? Show the people out there, and tell the people out there what you got.
I'm very blessed to have a good bottle store nearby, so we've just got a Deeds Brewing. It's a oat cream New England IPA.
That free advertising, loves that.
Yeah. called a Juice Train.
Ooh.
Not bad. Yeah, I don't know. I just I like a bit of variety. I don't like to drink the same thing twice, so I go to my local, and if you buy 24 single beers, they give you the carton price on all of them, so that brings the cost of a craft beer down from, $20 each to something like 7 or 8. So, I mean, you still need a small mortgage to bring 24 cans home, but variety is the spice of life, as they say. It's probably why I've changed clubs so many times.
I think everyone in this room can relate to that.
Yeah, mate. Well, I think just as a keeper, it's a tough role. It's a very tough role, and definitely.
So I guess you can say we're almost like craft beers, aren't we?
Yeah.
Everyone, you go through a few places. It's we all taste different. That sounds wrong, but we're all different goalkeepers. So it is what it is.
And I think to that point, too much of one is no good for you either.
I agree.
And I think that's true of keepers too. I think it takes a special kind of person to put up with us.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be those referees at the goalkeeper battles. How they've got so many keepers, so many different personalities there, and kudos to them because they put up with a lot of rubbish.
Oh man, so much.
It's interesting though. You talk about that goalkeepers like to cycle through clubs. I think it can also be a club thing as well.
Yeah.
I went down, and speaking of our old club, Curtin University, they were playing a Sunday game last weekend, so I had an opportunity to go and watch them against my former club, which is Canning City.
Yeah.
And I thought, so across my life, I've gone in and left Canning 3 times, and across my footballing career, I've played there for a total, I think, of 11 seasons.
Not bad.
All right.
Do you think I could recognise a single person in their state league squad, reserves or first?
I think the only one you probably would remember would be the goalkeeper.
And only from last season, having played against him, because he's hard to miss. A big presence. But none of the other players. I mean, that club has just churned and burned, and sometimes clubs have to do that. They went through some transformative processes while I was there in terms of getting rid of coaches and starting from the ground up. And that happens, I think, when you've got a successful club. Happens at the professional level too. They take out the premiership, so you don't change a winning formula, do you? And you don't change a winning team. And you do that for 3 seasons, 4 seasons, and all of a sudden you've got a first team that's full of guys knocking on the door of 30, and then all of a sudden you've got to start again with a bunch of 19-year-olds.
Yeah,
so
that's it. And that thing there with the change, you don't want to change a winning formula, but you're not going to get a Formula One supercar in 1988 to go race in the current one, are you? So you've always got to change your team, your tactics for the different seasons because new things come out.
I've definitely noticed, especially with Canning, when they went through their rebuild, because basically they needed one because they finished, I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons ago, they finished last, and they were supposed to get relegated, but nobody went up. So then they stayed, and then it was basically from that they got a golden opportunity they reapplied to get back in, and they got back in, and then it was from their rebuild, and they've done well with the rebuild so far. I think they've done quite well, but it's just sometimes teams just need a clean sweep from it, and they just go clean coaches, clean players, and just start fresh, start anew.
Who are you going?
100%.
Who are you going for that on Sunday, Rob? Because it's a tough. You got Curtin, you got Canning. What was the score too, by the way?
Well, I got down there for 3 o'clock, as is the first team usual kickoff, to find out that. Well, first of all, I was driving to Willetton to go watch the game at Canning, and I just happened to decide to pull over and check that it was actually being played at Curtin. So I didn't drive to Willetton. And the kickoff times were skewed by 2 hours, and the reserves were kicking off at 3, and the first were kicking off at 5. So I got down there to watch the reserves.
Oh yeah. All right.
And I mean, it was very easy. So to answer your first question, I was I was going for Curtin. I mean, there's no bad blood there. I left there on good terms. That was just a case of 5 keepers for 2 teams was never really going to work out. And you know, still good mates with the boys. They're the ones that still stay in touch with me, and got a big soft spot for that club there. Whereas the only person from Canning that I still knew was the old president who coached me in under 7s all those years ago, Hans Mayer, who's retired from that club about 14 times.
Always comes back.
Can't replace him.
Wow.
So yeah, the Curtin Reserves had a good, I think, 5-2 win or something. There was lots of goals. It was very entertaining.
Because they're on a winning streak, I think, the Reserves, aren't they?
They are a bit, and the first team's not going too badly either, but they suffered an ill-afforded defeat. I think they went down 2-0, so just couldn't find the back of the net, unfortunately.
It's funny with that 2-0 scoreline, isn't it? Because if someone says the team, you know, I won 2-0, it could be you dominate possession and have 2 shots, or you could be dominating possession and you could have control of the game and you leak 2 goals.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've seen that at the Euros as well, haven't we? I mean, you got teams that, it was the screenshot that came up after one of the games the other night, some team managed to hold on to a 1-1 draw with 22% possession or something like that. So, I mean, being a Bayern Munich supporter, I'm hypercritical of the high possession game, because that was something that Guardiola brought into our club when he came in for 3 years to ruin everything. And, turned us into a possession-based team. Much like, Man City's done extraordinarily well this last season, but I mean, how many times have Man City supporters had to sit through a 72% possession game with 26 shots and 14 on target and no goals?
Yeah.
It's a very frustrating brand of football to play, so I think possession's hugely overrated. I think it's more about what you do when you have the ball rather than how long you have the ball for.
It's those chances, isn't it?
Especially as a goalkeeper, though, we get so frustrated when all we see is we pass the ball, and you see your team and you're literally sitting there going, can somebody please score or create something? Because then you're just sitting there and the goal's like, I can't help you as much as like I want to. Like I can't put the ball in the net for you. I wish I could, but I can't.
If you don't shoot, I'm shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is 100%. It's the flip side of that argument. What do they say? You can't lose a game if you don't concede. But you also can't win a game if you don't score. So it's a huge frustration I have with the lads at the moment. Is we create a lot of chances, but the boys don't either take the chances or they get to that goal scoring opportunity but don't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I have to remind the front 3 or 4 of the amount of pressure that they are inadvertently putting on the back players and on the defensive side of the team when you're not scoring a goal. You know, the Swan Reserves team is quite a strong team.
Yeah.
And the results that they've received, are not a true reflection of that, but they are through to the semi-finals of the Cup, so, they're obviously doing something right. But, we're just dominating a game, but the end result won't tell you that. The only result that really matters is the score, and if we don't score and then they score one, and then then the other team will just park the bus and hold on to a 1-0 lead, or we'll throw the kitchen sink at them for the last 10 minutes and then they catch on the counter and then they quickly grab another one, and that's where those 2-0 losses come in, and you go, we were the better team on the day. And I think we've had that chat after 6 of our games this season already, and it's like, the better team wins the game, to be honest. So.
Yeah, that's it. Well, for the viewers out there, Swan Resis, they're sitting 10th on the league. So you've had three wins and 6 losses. But some of those results, and I've seen some of the highlights. Yeah, very, very tight. And you're right. You could go down 1-0 and that can change the dynamics of the game. Or if you don't pull the trigger and score, you get done on a counter-attack. So, yeah, you're right. Just they need to pull the trigger. And even just that, with talking about possession as well, just that creative flair from the strikers and the wingers, and that just to be given that kind of open leather, just to go, right, we need a goal, create something for us, give us a bit of flair, give us a bit of creatation, because sometimes just that passing the ball backwards and forwards, sometimes it can work because the opposition gets tired of moving, shuffling right or left, and that's where the gaps appear. But if a team's will drill with that, it's very, very hard to break down.
Well, I think I mean, it's one of the results of the National Premier League having been formed, and then obviously reserves being another step down. Is it's difficult to find a player with flair and pizzazz, and a true out and out number 9. I think so many clubs, so many teams are lacking one of those because we just don't yet have that depth of football community in WA to allow for there to be multiple divisions with multiple teams, all with a magical striker. So you're really relying on a team effort to score those goals. But it's an occupational hazard as well of playing reserves, is you've very often got a very different squad week to week. And the Swan State League squad, first and reserves, is massive, massive. I mean, I got down there for my first few weeks and we were training with enough people to finish off training with an 11v11 with some subs, and I was thinking, this is a pretty decent sized squad, and it turned out that was just the first team squad, and there was another reserve squad training on the other side of the oval, and I went, holy Moses, there's a lot of people here. Massive squad, and they rotate through them. So it's one of the things with reserves, and especially you come to the second half and you might be chasing a game where you go behind, but the first team coach has given instruction to the reserves coach that he's got to take 3 players off it at 45, at 55 and at 65 minutes because they're on the bench for the firsts, or seasons like we've had the last 2 seasons with COVID where we've got midweek catch-up games and cup games midweek and stuff like that. We're having to play 9 games in 3 weeks or something like that. With our reserves, it's tough.
Takes a toll on you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and we're by no stretch of the imagination professional athletes,
as you take a sip of your beer and complain about how sore you are.
This is one of them alcohol-free ones we were talking about before.
But seeing as you did play in the State League 2, like majority would say reserves last season, and you've played every game for Swan in the Resies this season. Have you...
Every game except for the one that was 6-0. I didn't play in that one.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, we will take you out of that one.
Yeah.
But do you notice like a bit of like difference between the 2 leagues? Like, is there much separation between the Divi 2 and the Divi 1 reserves?
It's a really good question, Tommy. I think the short answer is no. The first team, definitely. Yeah. And obviously I train with the first team.
Yeah.
And you notice the difference. And Yatesy will laugh at this. I always found it odd that he strapped his wrists when we trained together last season. I never understood the requirement to strap your wrists. And I'll tell you what, his first team strikers hit the ball a lot harder than Div 2 strikers. And so I now strap my wrists every week as well.
That's what I like to hear,
which is never something I had an issue with. The reserves, that's a club-to-club, week-to-week thing. I mean, we have, Swan was only in Div 2 a couple of seasons ago. They're not a well-established, comfortable, always sitting in Division 1 or pushing for NPL kind of club. No. But our reserves have managed to knock off a couple of NPL clubs, like Florida Athena, for example, to get to, like I mentioned before, the semis of the Reserves Cup. So reserves, I don't think, is a fair measure of the depth of the leagues, but there's also not enough transitivity between the divisions in WA, I don't think, and we've touched on it before. Canning have avoided relegation from Div 2 twice, actually. I think it was 2 seasons in a row. Just because you've got clubs like, is it South Perth United or North Perth United, one of those? They've got a fantastic amateur Prims team.
South Perth, I think it is.
South Perth United, but to qualify for State League, they've got to field 18s, and they're just not interested in fielding an under 18s because then you need 15s to feed the 18s, and then all of a sudden you've got a juniors club, and they're just not interested. So I think it's much like the A-League. It's just, the round ball football game in Australia just doesn't yet have that depth to have enough transitivity and enough competition. And I'm actually super critical of the NPL for its role in creating so many issues for Division 2 and Division 1 teams, because it's taken a lot away from other clubs. So it's...
What's your thoughts, Robbie, on the... there's been rumours around and on the Football West pages and all that, them bringing in another league. So it'll be underneath the A-League, so the B-League. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I think there needs to be something. that puts pressure on the A-League. But we need some other factor for the A-League not to be the pasture that, Robbie Fowlers and the like come out to retire into. This isn't...
Yeah.
The league will never be taken seriously if it's seen as a retirement league, and it's just such a shame that the good footballers in Australia don't even consider staying in Australia as a viable option. I mean, one, for their career and for money, but also just because you just won't. And it's hard. I mean, it's a great country. It's a fantastic place to live, but, our distance from the rest of the world does create issues. We were talking before about the Euros and the fact that Australia, is looking at not even playing in Asia. They're trying to play in the American Cup because there's just not the competition in our region to push the players. So
yeah, it's a hard.
It'll be a step in the right direction, but it's certainly a work in progress.
Yeah, what you said about Australia there, it's a good thing knowing that our quality of football as a nation is getting that bit better. So we are moving ahead, but what we were speaking about before too offline, coming up against Lionel Messi or, some of these international teams which you would come up against in the World Cup. So what's your thoughts on that, Tommy, with that B-League?
A natural pathway is always better. For example, any sort of league around the world, there's no place on earth I think of that goes, oh yeah, if you lose in the top league, nothing happens to you. Which was the huge issue that everyone took with what was the new league they were trying to make a couple of months ago? The
Super League.
The Super League. Yeah.
There was no consequence for becoming last.
It was just a big money maker type of thing.
So just a bit like AFL.
Yeah, exactly. And it is just one of them things that for me personally, I'm like, what is the consequence for the players? Like clubs need something to strive for. There's no reward for winning an NPL season. For all around Australia, there's no real reward. You get a trophy, you get the glory, but there's no promotion. There's no step up from there. There should always be some sort of step up from there. And to me, a bridging gap would be good. I don't know the financials behind it.
Yeah, I think it'd be.
I think the financials side of it is definitely, obviously, a lot harder than I would imagine. It's never just clean cut, but there should be a way that you can progress as a team and progress as clubs do when they evolve into more business-like operations, where professional clubs are basically businesses these days, and they're run like so. So it would be nice for professional clubs in the A-League to be able to take that responsibility and go, no, we are professional outfits. Let's prove it on that level. And then if there are consequences for that lower level, they should be able to prove their quality and prove that they're professionals by, beating them NPL teams. But I got a feeling that a lot of them NPL sides, especially around Australia, there's a lot of well-funded NPL sides that would give a lot of them A-League sides a run for their money. I can tell you that now.
Oh, for sure. And that's true at every level. I think everyone recognises, and Tommy, when we met up the other week, we were talking about the fact there'd be a lot of amateur Prem and even amateur Div 1 teams would give a lot of state league teams a good run for their money as well.
The oath, yeah.
You see it in pre-season games where you'll line up against an amateurs team as a state league player and go down 4-0 because you think you've won the game already, and you're like, oh, hang on, these guys can actually play. So
that's it.
No,
it's an interesting topic, and I guess we could talk about it for hours and 2 hours, to be honest. As we normally do when we trained that last time, we spent more time talking than we did actually doing any training.
Oh yeah, and then poor Rob got one in the nose.
That's so. To the viewers out there that are listening and watching, Rob is the type of guy that a car could drive past, an apple could be on the floor, and Rob could be on the other side of the road, and somehow the apple will find his face or some part of his body. He always gets hit, he always gets injured or kicked or flicked or whatever.
That's what makes him a good goalkeeper. He always gets in the way.
I think it's a lesson for the young goalkeepers that want to give us a listen. It's really important that you've got good reactions. Protect your face. Because if you're slow like me...
I love it.
We did an episode with Brendan last week, but we're still trying to work that out, aren't we, Tommy? But he actually, Kat from, what's her partner's from? I've forgotten his name. That's really embarrassing.
Who's that?
Sorry, mate. Cat lady takes the photography.
Matt Bryant.
Matt Bryant.
Yeah.
So she
Rich.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Richie boy. So Rich.
Yeah.
She got a photo of him with the balls actually gone through his hand and hit him in the face.
It's like perfect.
It's a perfect photo.
It's a perfect one.
It's perfect.
It's brilliant.
Every goalkeeper coach ever has always said, make sure you get everything behind it. So, that's why we don't catch like this, do we?
Whatever it takes.
But and it's also funny as well, like that, and we talk about it like during training. We talk about the loose hands. The loose hands, but then your hands get a bit too loose sometimes, and then just the ball will just slip through. And speaking of loose hands, like there's been a lot of things that's come across my feed, across my socials on side of things. Have you read or heard much about these like non-grippy gloves that goalkeepers are using for training?
I thought this is what you were leading up to.
Yeah,
I think it's a really interesting idea.
Like I'm super keen to get a few pairs like with Yatesy and try them out because it seems.
Mate, save yourself some money. I've got heaps of gloves that we've got.
Just whack out a pair of SDLs and put some Vaseline over them or something like that.
I think it's you can achieve the same thing, and if you've got good glove management, you should be doing that anyway. I mean, there's that old, once you've used a pair for a few matches, I mean, if you're really fussy like me, I'll only use a pair of gloves for a few matches before they get relegated to training gloves, and then I end up cycling through probably about 8 or 9 pairs at the moment that get used for training only, and keeping 2 or 3 pairs fresh that are for matches. And I mean, that's the benefit of finding a supplier that you can get gloves for at an affordable price. Because if you'd spoken to me when I was at university and told me I was going to own 8 pairs of gloves, 5 for training and 3 for games that I was going to rotate through, I would have looked sideways. But your training gloves are already your gloves that are a bit scuffed, or that you probably don't clean them as well as the other ones, or you don't clean them at all, knowing some goalkeepers.
For sure. Yeah, and that was the thing that I was thinking in the back of my head when I was reading and watching all this, and they were like, oh, it's really great, like it teaches you to have soft hands, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, like in theory, yeah, but you're just training yourself to get used to something that's not
going to play with.
Like for me, I train how I play. So yeah, I'll train with the similar equipment that I use during game day, except it's just going to be a little bit more stickier to help me make sure that I catch them balls that I need to catch. But as far as grip goes, like it's just a little bit less stickier than it normally would be for my game day pair, which would normally be quite sticky and new. For me, I was just like, meh.
It's certainly not something I need to spend money on. I think it's just another gimmick that a lot of people will get into, and if they get success with it, then good on them. But I'm certainly not going to part with any of my hard-earned money for some gloves that don't grip.
Well, speaking of gloves, Robbie, what are you wearing at the moment, mate?
Ooh.
I'm actually Tommy parted with a couple of pairs for me to try out, because I've actually broken my finger. So I'm supposed to have my finger splintered, and but then I can't bend it. So I've gone back in time to some finger saves, and Tommy had some that he designed that he's given me. I've worn those for the last 3 games.
Oh, that's nice.
And they're holding up all right.
Yeah, I saw you with the SDL bright yellow kit on the pictures last weekend.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Very schmick.
You and Nick matching perfectly, which was really nice to see. We need a nice picture of you guys together in your nice yellow SDL kits.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we started doing that because we were doing the complete opposite, and we had our 18s keeper wearing one kit, me wearing another kit, and Nick wearing another, and I thought, geez, we don't even look like we play for the same club, let alone that we're on the team.
That's what I mean. Like, it's nice. It's nice to match with all your keepers matched, all look nice and professional all together.
Yeah. So we're in the process of getting another couple of kits together as well, so we can try and match those, because the only other colours we found that we can match are the colours that Nick doesn't want to wear, or red, and we got too many red clubs in our league already.
Yeah, red is a good colour though.
Yeah. He's just
I
like
do
red,
like
red,
the
red. I want to wear red.
So shout when you're listening, boys, girl, if you want to get kit or some gloves, Tommy, where do they need to go?
sdleisure.com.au still kit you up.
Yep, he's just got a new lot of gloves coming now. Which
How good. You get your gloves to match your kits as well. He's got one of every colour.
It's beautiful.
That's the best. I love a matching kit and gloves combo. What about you? What do you like a nice matching combo?
I like to have everything match. It's something that it's a sticking point between Nick and I when we're coordinating our kits. Is he likes to wear black socks with the yellow shorts and yellow top, and I'm like, mate, if we're going yellow, we're going all yellow. Yeah. It's yellow top, socks, shorts, yellow gloves. I'll get yellow long sleeve compression top to wear under my shirt. I'll wear yellow jocks that day. I'll be yellow.
Oh yes, gotta have yellow jocks with the yellow kit.
Have a yellow towel.
Nah, we're all for the matching, mate. We absolutely love the old matching kits.
So speaking of Nick, Rob, so how is that? Obviously, we've had him training us down at Curtin last year, and now he's back at Swan, recovered from his injury, which it's awesome seeing him play again. How does that go, having someone of quality like Nick being, I guess, a teammate?
It is really good. It makes it a lot easier to sit on the bench when it's someone of that caliber and you know he's played professionally. Sitting on the bench for you was really painful.
Likewise.
Sure, shots fired.
No, I'm totally kidding. I have to remember that last year was my first season back goalkeeping after 3 years off. So to have got into the squad at all, I was pleased enough. But no, there's a lot of experience to draw on there. And so that is really good. And yeah, sort of you learn a lot from a keeper like that. But I have to say, I mean, Nick does still coach at another club as well, so he's not at our training as much, which has its pros and cons because I don't get to draw from him, but it doesn't mean that our 18s keeper has a habit of getting concussed, so he's banned from training and games for a little while. So it means I'm getting one-on-one goalkeeper coaching twice a week. So I actually don't mind that Nick's not there because I'm kind of like, you don't need the coaching, you're fine. Like, let me just catch up to you.
You've got a goalkeeper coach down at Swan as well?
We do, yeah. He's a young guy, Jordan. He's kept all around the place. He's been at Swan, he's been at Guelph, he's been at Dianella, he's done the rounds, and a very good keeper, but he's had to have a year off this season. And at the start of the season, or during pre-season, we were fortunate enough to have a guy down, Chris Ramsey, who was a goalkeeper coach for, I believe, Chelsea Youth, and so he was sort of coaching Jordan how to be a good goalkeeper coach, because Jordan's a good goalkeeper. Even injured, you can see what a good keeper that he is. And so he was learning off Chris how to be a good goalkeeper coach. And unfortunately, we only had Chris for a few weeks because he couldn't come to training one night. He had a Skype interview with a club by what they call Ajax.
Oh
He
yeah.
got a job at Ajax.
That small club,
Pretty sure I've heard that club around.
No, doesn't ring a bell, mate. Doesn't ring a bell. Wow.
Yeah, even just 4 weeks with Chris was awesome, and then he imparted enough knowledge onto Jordan for Jordan then to just run that through with me every Tuesday and Thursday. So that's been really good. I've learnt a lot in the short time that I've been at Swan already. I can see and feel myself improving as a keeper.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is good. So
yeah, and look, it's good to see you going up and upwards, Robbie. Like it's good to see you progress, and you do. We do look out and keep an eye on the scores and the posts and stuff like that. So it's,
we mainly look for the pictures. We look for the pictures.
We're all very visual learners, so the pictures help.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do miss playing at a club more central, suburban wise, that someone like a Cat Bryant can come and take some good high definition photos. We've got a lovely guy that takes a lot of photos for the Swan games as well. So
that's good. You
handy for the socials.
That's it. So how do you find now, like stepping up? So it is a little bit of a difference between Div 2, Div 1, with your work, because obviously you run your own business.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, when I was starting my business, I did take some time out of state league. That was when I was still at Canning. They did register me, and I filled in for a couple of games. And it's definitely difficult to balance. And you see it with a lot of the young guys. You know, they'll play through juniors, they'll play 18s. Luke, we saw it with the keeper we were playing with last year.
Yeah.
You know, got to this season, has gone to university and gotten a job, and goes, "Oh, I don't have time to play." And you sort of laugh, but you remember your first season or two when you have a job, you probably took off as well, and then you figure out the work-life balance. So it's just about carving out the time for it. I mean, for me, and my partner recognises this as well. You know, she was with me for a season when I didn't play football, and the only thing worse than trying to squeeze in football into a full schedule is not playing football at all.
I'm surprised you didn't break up with you, mate. Get out of the house now.
Yeah, so it's just something you've just got to make time for. And I mean, it's tough playing out at Swan where, you know, it's a 35, 40-minute commute there and back. But, you know, there's plenty of people drive a lot further to play football. So it's just really important to me that I do play football. That's it's easy to make the time for it for me.
I think it's very important, that work-life balance, and especially with in your situation where I'm running your own business. It's probably a little bit different to myself and Tommy. We just say we have a 9-to-5 job. You know, we can leave work, and we're done. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But that time management for kids is very, very, very important.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to if it's important enough, you'll make it work, though. And I mean, my clients understand that. It does actually add it's a good talking point. It adds a good human element to something as well. You know, I do most of my appointments after hours, and so I do remind the lads of that sometimes when they do something daft, like schedule a game like we've got next week against Mandurah on a Wednesday at 7:00 p.m.
Away or home?
You know, and I'm going, well, you know, each client is worth X amount of dollars to me. I'm now having to sacrifice Wednesday evening when I normally do 3 appointments, something like that. But, you know, the football takes priority, and you say to a client, oh, look, I'm actually not available, I've got football. They go, oh, you suddenly become a human. So I actually use it in my business as a tool to sort of break down some barriers and have it stop being such like a commercial transaction to that it's actually just two humans dealing with each other. And I still sponsor the Curtin University Football Club as well, so it's a part of the business as well. So.
Did you drop in a few like accidental selfies of you in your? Oh, sorry, that's just a photo of me wearing my lovely yellow
just being a boss,
kit.
catching a ball 14 meters up in the air. Yeah.
And here's me. Oh no, don't look at that. Don't look at that picture. Speaking of your partner, Rob, Catherine, you've been here with her for what, 6 years now?
Yeah, to be knocking on the door of that. In fact, 4th of July.
Yeah.
You just reminded me that, geez, that's not far away. Yeah.
Right. You can thank me later. I did a bit of stalking and I saw that. So 6 years, Rob, that's a long time, mate, to be with someone.
It is. You get less for some crimes.
That's it, yeah. Probably says the same thing about you.
It's props to her more than anything for putting up with me for that long, because I certainly wasn't very easy to deal with for the first few years, for sure. That was as I was starting the business, and I was just a bit of a dickhead as well, so, you know.
We all are when we're young, Rob. We all are.
Yeah, but, you know, you get older and you get wiser and more patient, more understanding.
That's it. I just remember going through your Facebook and I saw one of your highlights was when Catherine was baking her cupcakes, which looked amazing, by the way. And your comment was, I gave her lots of support and even room in the fridge, so I took your beers out. So I thought...
Yeah, I did.
I thought that was actually
buttercream cupcakes. I just take some beers out of the fridge.
Yeah, damn. So I had to drink because I didn't want to get cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's...
She's a very accomplished baker. I was actually just eating some brownies that she cooked earlier, actually.
Oh, nice.
Loves a good brownie.
Can't argue with that. So, and one thing, because I've done this to a couple of people now, as I go through their Facebook, look at some highlights and all that stuff, and I really like looking at old photos of people to see what they look like when they were younger. All right, Rob. Now I have sent Tommy some photos, and we'll put them up on the YouTube channel, so Tom will work his magic. He can't wait to do that.
Yeah, those post editing, Tom's gonna love that.
Yeah. So one of them, which was hilarious, because some people out there don't know that Rob actually and I have some common friends, because Rob went to Lesmurdie High School. And we had his year 12 picture pretty sure it was relative, where you had to put your name in the book and stuff. And the comment was, Robert says he is stubborn, sarcastic, and German. And his ambition is to be a multi-millionaire. And if you look at the photo, he looks like an outcast of Home and Away with his surfy hair. And it was hilarious. I had to have a bit of a laugh about that.
In my defence, everyone looked like that in 2010.
No, they did.
We all wanted to express our individuality by looking exactly the same.
Yeah. If only you had the coral necklace around your neck, that would have just topped it off.
Oh, I probably bought one, but didn't have the cojones to try and pull it off.
Especially being a lesbian. It was funny though, coming from the hills, how many surfer guys there were. Like you couldn't even smell the
you
ocean.
couldn't live further away, and everyone thought they were a surfer.
Yeah. Also too, I had another photo I found there was when you were playing with Canning when you were 15 years old with your Div 1 photo. So I think you were rocking a lovely grey kit. I couldn't work out what gloves or boots you were working, so I haven't zoomed in it. But it looked pretty good.
That team was actually one of the best teams I've ever played in.
Oh, really?
I moved to Canning, back to Canning. So this was my second stint at Canning.
Yeah.
After playing, I used to play for Kalamunda. And they didn't have a big enough club, so I had to play under 15s when I was supposed to be playing under 13s, which meant that I was 12. So that's when I first played under 15s, and then transferred to Canning the next year and played under 15s again, now a little bit closer to the right age. Mm. And we just had these couple of prolific players that went on. A couple of them went on to become professional, actually. A few of them in the NPL, and a couple of them went overseas and whatever else. But we had these two lads up front that were just rapid, like stupid quick. Doesn't matter if you're good at football or not, if you're stupid quick.
Yeah.
And as you know, Yatesy, I can't kick a ball well off the floor, but out of hands I can absolutely launch one. And across 15s and 16s would have racked up a good couple of handfuls of assists. You just knock one long to Dane or to Mute, and they just run onto it. I think we took the league out in under 15s and in under 16s, and that was probably the pinnacle of my football career. And it's been downhill since then.
And just trying to chase that thing. That's a good tactic. Have you ever had an assist like that, Tommy?
I haven't yet, no. I've gotten close, definitely close a few times, where I've definitely yelled out a few not so good words to a few strikers where they've just they've done the hard work but just couldn't tap it in, or had a shot which was bad or skied it. It's never quite paid off just yet.
No, it will. You'll cash that check in.
I'll get it. I'll get it one day.
I think that's the most annoying thing as keeper is like you make a worldie save, you catch the ball, whatever, and you launch this kick. Like you can just tell it's going, and all the attacker needs to do is just tap it in or do something simple.
Just tap it in,
and they just ruin
it.
it.
Just go home, ball. Go to your home.
That's a great movie, that is.
Just give it a little tappy tap.
Yeah. So speaking of movies, Tommy.
Oh yes, is it that time?
It's the cheeky question time. This is all what we've been coming here for. So
this is why people listen to the show.
That's it. Rob, what's your favourite football movie, mate? Hit us with it.
Favourite football movie?
Yeah, mate.
Because there's not even that many, is there?
There's tons. There's lots.
No, I just watch lots of football. I actually really rated that Goal movie when it came out, but that was a long time ago and I was young and very silly. But I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's not too bad. They've got 3 of them now, don't they?
There's definitely more.
But
than
I'm going to
one.
say I haven't seen a lot of football movies.
That's
not round ball football anyway. A lot of them are very American football based.
Like Longest Yard or something like that.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
Well, they've done equivalent to Longest Yard is Mean Machine.
Yes,
which has got Danny.
Okay.
Is that the original Longest Yard?
No, the original Longest Yard had, I'm going to say Burt Reynolds, and I could be wrong, but he was the guy that played Adam Sandler.
Right, because there's an original Longest Yard before the Adam Sandler remake. Yeah,
which was hilarious.
Terry Crews. I'm going to abstain from that question. I haven't seen a lot. Sorry, boys.
That's right. No. Well, maybe that can be a bit of homework.
There you go. That's your homework before you come on next.
Yeah. Done.
And do you have a favourite pair of boots that you wear or have worn before?
Oh, 100%. And this has been underscored for me because I went out and bought a new pair recently.
Another new pair?
But I have bought a new pair recently and it didn't work out for me. So I have worn the Adidas Predators since my lovely Orma, may she rest in peace, bought a pair for me when I was over in Germany visiting her.
Ooh.
And so that would have been 2006 probably. So the last 15 years I've just worn Preds, except for one time I bought a pair of Pumas that fell apart after about 6 weeks. And never looked back. And I have to say the Predator Mutator 0.1 is by far the most comfortable boot I've ever worn.
Okay.
And with the little spikes on it, you know, it looks cool too.
Yeah.
And they improved it and brought out the Predator Freak, which I went out and bought a couple of weeks ago. And not a fan of the improvements they've made. Hopefully they fit someone else's foot a little bit better, but not mine. So I went out and bought another pair of the Predator Mutators, and I'll buy them for as long as they stock them. I reckon they are the best boot.
All black, did you go, or?
Yeah, well, all black was the first couple of pairs I bought. They discontinued those, and so they got a couple of other colourways. But pretty black and grey with a bit of guy. Just got whatever was in a size 10.5. That was the size is more important. The aesthetic comes second. It pains me to say that because I'm all about the aesthetic.
Yeah. Rob's quite known for getting shoes in the wrong size, aren't you, mate? Second time now. Oh.
I just get whatever's available. They go on sale. I go, am I a 10 or an 11? Oh, I'll buy both and I'll return the other ones, and then I just can't be bothered returning them. So I just get a pair of the wrong size for a whole season.
Just hoard of boots.
Just got a closet full of boots that are brand new that doesn't fit him.
It'd be a wonderful world we could live in if everything that said it was, a certain size ran true to size. But it's not just across brands. It's each different boot comes out fitting different. Something you're a 10, others you're an 11.
Different cuts.
That's the crazy thing as well. Hey, like you can't even. It's not even the brands anymore. Like when that particular brand releases a new boot, there's new sizings for that particular boot. So you might be half a size up or half a size down. It's just. That's why
and then they'll expand half a size as well over the course of a couple of months. Then you've got to start double socking, and then it is.
Yeah, you can't double sock, mate. That's just not. Just the friction between the socks just doesn't work.
I always double sock. Always double sock. Have to. But it's funny with the boots that Robbie's got. I wear
You had them last season.
Yeah.
Do you actually have the soft ground version or the mixed or the firm ground?
No. I get the firm ground version. Just because I've always preferred that. I don't like having to tighten studs and things like that and have referees need to check them. But also just because like last year playing at Curtin, our training ground in particular was very firm. And the Swan ground is one step up from a cow paddock. It's pretty horrendous, but it's firm in spots, it's soft in spots, and so just having a soft ground boot just wouldn't work. I think in Australia more often than not with all the sun, you're going to be on firm ground. So
I am because I'm a 13.5 in the boots that Rob's got, but I've got the new Cobras. I'm a 13.
Subtle flex on his shoe size there.
Yeah.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Humble. Can say that because we both got big noses.
Yeah.
Nip on. Yeah, but it's funny with that. And what's the last tricky question there?
Gloves. What is your favorite pair of gloves, my friends? It doesn't have to be like what you're wearing now. It could be any glove that you wore in your entirety of your career that you might have a special moment with, or
no. I think that changes over time.
Definitely.
I used to, just because I was just very brand focused. I used to love the much older Adidas Predator finger save glove. Back in the day. And then they changed it. So I used to have a glove that matched my boots, and it was really cool. That was that black, white, and red colorway that I think everyone's owned at one point in their life. And then obviously, finger saves went out of fashion and we moved on. I had some Reusch Raptors that I really, really liked. I really loved the Reusch gloves. Are sort of naturally curved and very cool looking and very sticky. But I have to say, and you're going to think this is a setup with your association with SDL, but I love the new neoprene hybrid gloves that Stu does at SDL. I just think that they're just the perfect combination of You got a couple of fingers in a neg cut, the others in a roll. It's got a bit of neoprene on the backhand for a bit of flexibility, but it fits tight enough. And then it's got the silicone injection on the backhand, so the glove still feels like kind of chunky enough that it provides some protection, but not so chunky that it's just ridiculous like a boxing glove. And I've got to say, like the contact latex that's on those and how thick it is, they are brilliant, I reckon. And for the price point as well, you can buy 3 pairs of those for the price of 1 pair of the new Adidas Predator gloves that I did buy, and they are by far the worst gloves I've ever bought. They were just a horrendous waste of money. They fell apart immediately. The latex was good for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with Nick the other day about gloves, and went into a sports store here and found some gloves that looked like an old Adidas training pair, you know, with the 4mm backhand and the 2mm latex.
That had
I
everyone
forget what brand they were. They were one of the bigger but not biggest brands, and they were like $280. And I was like, man, there's so many pairs of SDLs.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. It's like the amount of, you know, money and the effort that it requires to actually use the glove and look after it. You know, you can just whip out a pair of SDLs and they'll do you for durability, stickiness. They tick all the boxes, and that's why we definitely love Stu's gloves as well. But yeah, good pick. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah, and they fit so well. And I've learned on by Stu's encouragement, I sized down, which is now 2 sizes less than I used to wear.
Yeah.
I used to wear a size 10, and he encouraged me to go to a size 9. And I'm actually now, in a lot of gloves, getting a size 8, which is really cramming my hand in there. But it's a good way of cheating to get that like negative cut feel where you have so much control.
Yeah.
But you're not, you know, you've still got the surface area of like a roll finger. So
that's an interesting technique. That is, I might have to try that out myself. So
yeah, like I've never tried that because I'd be in junior sizes if I did that. But I've always worn size 9s or size 8s depending on obviously the glove cut. I used to wear like Adidas gloves and stuff like that. There would always be a size 9, but size 8, and I remember size 8s just being too tight on me. But then
they certainly
size
are.
8.
But I think more so than boots, I find that gloves size up over time as well, especially if you get them really proper wet one time, like if you're playing in torrential rain or it's really wet.
Yeah.
Once they dry, they're a size and a half bigger after that, and there's just no going back. So I found if I was buying 9s or 10s and they got wet and they dried, then they were now a size 11, and I just don't like not having any touch on the ball. I don't like a loose glove. So
you got to have a nice, tight, firm glove on your hand. It has to be nice and tight to your hand. That's why you probably really like that cut, is because it kind of gives you the best. Like we always say, the hybrid cut's one of the best cuts because it does give you the best of both worlds. You get the negative cut, gets it nice and close to your hands, and then you get the added the roll finger as well put in there, which is awesome. But yeah, like definitely one of his best gloves. Definitely the hybrids and the Neos with the latex and the palm and the
all the goodness.
All the goodness.
I'm really digging the straps too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things I didn't used to like about the older version was the straps, because I found they weren't very durable. I was pulling them off all the time.
Yeah.
But since he sort of switched manufacturers and the guy seems to use a 3 times thicker strap on it, it actually holds up. It's not as stretchy, but still plenty stretchy. I just think he's just hit a sweet spot there. So I'll buy those as long as he makes them.
So I think what would be awesome, I think it needs maybe a few more colours next time.
There's about 6 different colours.
I reckon throw a purple in there.
Yeah, Stu, we just want a purple. That's what we want.
Purple would be nice. And I don't know, like maybe that's a bit. Where do you stop? I know he's got so many, but where do you stop with colours? Because they're all fashionable, they're all seasonal. Everyone, you know, the pink looks awesome. The pink looks really, really good.
Oh, look, one thing I'll say is black goes with everything. So if you're ever in doubt,
go black. The blacks do look good, and they just look
black,
clean too.
Black is the new black. That's the rule.
Black, and even tomorrow it'll still be the new black.
That's why I do love an all black glove and an all black pair of boots, and then I know that I can match the rest of my kit. Like that for me is the easiest bit, because I know I have a black pair of gloves. If I know I have a black pair of boots, I'll make sure my socks, my shorts, my undershirt, my shirt, that'll all match. So then you know that your gloves and your boots will match everything apart from that. Because what doesn't go with black?
Speaks to the laziness that I have as well, because if you've got a white latex on a glove like most gloves do, or just a white glove, it's really obvious when you haven't looked after it properly or you haven't cleaned it. That's the same with boots. You got black gloves,
you can get away with it.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Exactly. Yeah, that is the 100% right there.
Yeah,
100% right.
I mean, how muddy are gold mouths? You don't want white gloves in there. And I know Nick Stone loves a white glove. He wears all white gloves as often as he can. And I just go, mate, nah. Don't like cleaning.
Do you know what? I love an all-white... I do love a white palm for game days, but the problem that you get is when you go through your cycle of gloves, because normally you'll get maybe 4 or 5 matches, maybe 6 matches from your game day pair, and then they get cycled to a training pair. And now your training pair is now a white glove with a white palm, and now they're going to get dirty because you're not really going to spend time on looking after your training gloves. So that's why it's so much better if you've got a black palm. Then when they become a training glove, you're like, sweet, I don't have to look after them, and they look all right. They don't look really properly messed up.
And you get away with it.
Yeah, it's like so much better. But I do like the white palms. They look really good if you look after them. But yeah, the cycle just doesn't work for me. Doesn't work.
No.
I don't know. I have a set glove for training, a set glove for games, and then I'll be like, I'm bored now. I want something else.
Yeah. Just get bored. Yeah, let's get something different.
All right. Well, I think, Rob, we'd definitely have to catch up in person. We're definitely have to get you involved in one of our challenges. What that is yet, we don't know, but we'll surprise you. And it'll be
Sounds
fun.
good.
We surprise most people.
Yeah,
I'll be in there like swimwear, mate.
That's it. In there like Flynn. That was a good one. And I just realised that. So, look, again, Robbie, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed your beer. We enjoyed chatting to you. Tommy, any last words, mate?
No, mate. Thanks very much, Rob, for joining us, mate. Much appreciated. Good chat. And we'll definitely get you on for another time. Back on the show.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed it. We should do it again sometime.
Oh, agreed. And good luck for the rest of the season, mate, and stay in touch, bro.
Ditto for you boys.
Yeah.
Take care of yourselves.
See you, mate.
Take
Bye.
care. Inside 6 Yarns is proudly supported by SD Leisure.
For all your goalkeeping needs without breaking the bank.
SDL provides quality goalkeeper products including goalkeeper gloves,
Game day and training tops.
full kits including matching shirt, shorts and socks.
3/4 pants and even padded compression shorts.
For more information, you can visit their website at sdleisure.com.au or you can find them on Facebook
Or Instagram.
at SD Leisure.
SDL. It's all about you.
The goalkeeper.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. That was Mr. Rob Flynn there. Thanks, Rob, for coming on again, mate.
Much appreciated, mate. Much appreciated. No, another episode down, number 25
Done
in the
and dusted.
books.
Yeah, it's good to catch up with Mr. Rob, and we've known him for a little bit now, and it's
It's quite interesting considering that the very first time I met him, unfortunately I gave him a sore on the nose and all that type of stuff.
That's Rob for you, isn't it?
But look, it's just one of them things, and then from there it's like good friends. So, good to have him on the show. Definitely get him back on with Nick, and we can have a good chat about the situation at Swan and get a real good in-depth view of everything that's going on in that Div 1. But it was good to get his interpretation of a few things as well, and definitely gives us another insight into basically the progression of State League 2, 1, and all that type of stuff as well.
That's it. So it's a big, wild, windy world out there with goalkeepers in all the different divisions, even the keepers that can't talk like me. Tommy, who you got this weekend, mate?
We have got my old team at Wembley Downs, so we'll be hosting at home. We've got Wembley, and I'm looking forward to that task. Definitely haven't got a clean sheet yet for the new club, so hopefully, fingers crossed, go out there, get a clean sheet. What about you, mate?
We have Hammersley Rovers.
They're bottom of the league, aren't they?
They are at bottom of the league, but I don't think we should be taking that, as a
Taking
team,
that for
as a unit,
granted.
taking it for granted, because anything can happen. But also too, I've lucky enough to have a clean sheet this season, so would like another one.
Yes. Always searching for clean sheets here on Inside 6 Yards.
Always, yeah.
All right. So we'll get to the football side of things, but we'll see you guys next week for hopefully another episode of Inside 6 Yards. I've been Tommy Gunn.
That'll make me Yatesy.
And this has been Inside 6 Yards. Take care, stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.
Have fun.